know when you fangirl so hard, your inner fangirl screams at you to tell you that you're embarrassing? That was me this weekend. Take off my glasses. And throw this on. Put my cream on. But first we're gonna start talking about what I did this weekend. This weekend, I was in the sunny place of California. And not just anywhere in California, San Diego, for the annual Comic-Con. Let's see if I have any of this left. I don't have a mirror, so I'm just gonna kind of go from memory of where my face is. So, or just use the screen, yeah, that makes sense. So this weekend I went to Comic-Con, and I am not kidding you, I fangirled so hard that my 15-year-old self would be so embarrassed. I really wouldn't say I was embarrassing, but in my mind, it was like the worst I could possibly do. On Wednesday, we arrived in San Diego, picked up our passes, kind of chilled. I met up with my friend, and then we waited for Comic-Con to start on Thursday. On Thursday, we waited in lines and got nowhere. I hate this. Why is this happening? Excuse me. Can we just, show my shoulders, please? Thank you. There. Thursday was Teen Wolf Day. If anybody knows me, they know how much I love Teen Wolf, and more specifically, Dylan O'Brien. Tyler Posey's not bad, but I like Dylan O'Brien better. I need to get a new foundation. Go. Wow, my face does not look like death anymore. Yeah, so I walked around Hall H and waited for Teen Wolf to start. And the panels are about an hour. And they just talk about the show, and since Teen Wolf is finishing actually this year, so that's kind of sad. They talked about the show and how it's had a great run and all that fun stuff, and it was really great. Tyler Posey cried, everybody cried, Dylan O'Brien showed up. I kid you not, I don't think I've ever screamed as loud as I did when I saw Dylan O'Brien. Ew. Thursday that happened, and then we saw, later in the day, some Will Smith, some Nat Wolf, and some Lucy Fry. If anybody doesn't know who those people are, you need to do your research. And by research, I mean Google them. Let's see if it's focused again. There we go. Yeah, so they were doing panels on their new movies, Bright, which is basically about Will Smith in a world where he's a cop and they're just ogres and elves and stuff. It looks so sick. It's basically a modern day Lord of the Rings. It doesn't come out until December, which is unfortunate. And then Death Note comes out in August, and it's essentially this kid finds a Death's Note, basically, where he kills people. And it's based off a Japanese comic, I believe, and essentially he finds, his comic book, and he starts killing all the bad guys, criminals and murderers and stuff like that, to make the world a better place, but then he ends up, disrupting the peace or something. That's what I saw in the trailer anyways. And then Friday morning, I actually found out that Teen Wolf was having an autograph signing. So we woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we made our way down to the convention center, and we lined up in line to be let in to the convention center, to be let into another line, to be let into another line, to get a chance at an autograph session. Yeah, essentially how it works there is you either pick out of a hat, click yes or no on an iPhone or iPad, or heads or tails on an iPhone or iPad. How this one was, it was heads or tails, and I picked tails, and I won. Usually there's a trick to it, but you can never be sure. So I picked tails, and I won. So I made my way downstairs to the exhibit hall, and then I had to go, and by this time it's like 8 o'clock, not 8:30. The exhibit hall doesn't open until 9:30. Their signing was at 10. Ew, what is that? Signing was at 10. The exhibit hall didn't open until 9:30. So I had no time to go and even like try to fix anything, and like I just was like, okay, I guess this is my life now. I look like a hot mess and I've accepted it. So I made my way over to the exhibit hall, lined up, and made a friend there. Her name was Molly, and she like was super nice. Hang up, and essentially I got to meet all of the cast of Teen Wolf, and I love them so much. Oh my god, I love them so much. I'm so glad I got to meet them. So essentially you go and you wait in line, and then you go along, and then they sign this big poster for you, which I didn't know you got, but you get a big poster, and you have all their autographs on it. Mine's over there, and I'm not taking it out of the box, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't do that. Can't do that. How are you? Good. How you doing? You having fun? Yeah, very good.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm really excited to be here. I've been a huge fan of yours and of the show since it aired the first time. And now I'm here.
That's really nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is this your first time?
Yeah.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Part of the band.
Right.
Hi.
Hey there.
How are you?
Good.
Are you having a nice morning?
I am now that I see your hat.
Thank you.
Go Big Blue.
Yeah.
Yo,
I'm
what's
such a
up?
big fan of yours.
Nice. I'm a big fan of you.
Really?
Yeah.
That made my day.
I started good.
Do you think we could sneak like a quick photo?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you go. You're just going to do it anyways?
Do it anyways. Really?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just going to start taking videos. Say hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys are having a great day.
Thank you for asking. Good.
Oh, she's just going for it. You're just going for it. You're like, I don't care. Hey, how's it going?
Time talking with them, and I fangirled pretty hard, but I wasn't like to a point where I was embarrassed, because my friend Molly was kind of like, well, Emma, they're real people. You shouldn't really just, get yourself worked up, because they're people just like you and me. And I was like, oh my god, you're so right. I don't need to freak out for no reason. Celebrities are real people too. Yeah, so that happened. And then later that night, I just kind of was like, I lost it. I was like, nope. That night, I went to the MTV Fandom Fest. Oh, look, a mirror. Perfect. I went to the MTV Fandom Fest, and I, like, kind of lost my cool a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. So, I was kind of just on Instagram checking everybody out on Instagram, and I get, like, someone updates their Instagram story, and it says that they're in San Diego, and I was like, excuse me? So I kind of lost my cool a little bit, and I kind of sent this person get that contour in. I sent this person a bunch of messages on Instagram, and then I sent them a Snapchat. Because I was like, there's no way that it's not destiny that I'm not going to meet them, and I'm in the same city and going to the same party as them. Right? Because I had already planned to go to the MTV Fandom Fest. But then this person started uploading, like, oh, I'm doing this for MTV, and I was like, boy, you better not. Yeah, so that was super, that was my get-go, that was my beginning. And then that Friday, I also met a girl who was with the teen, like, she was sitting near me at the Teen Wolf panel, and we got to talking, and we started following each other on Instagram. And mind you, if none of you know, I'm 22. This girl that I met was 17, and I had just met her, okay? So the whole time we're talking, she's just like, I met this celebrity, I met this celebrity, I met this celebrity. Oh, my dad's a producer. Oh, I do this. Like, I live in downtown, like, I live in LA, and telling me her life story, and I'm like, okay, congratulations. Like, oh, great. And she starts talking to me about her boyfriend. And I'm like, that's where I kind of draw the line. I'm like, I don't really care about your boyfriend. I literally just met you less than 24 hours ago. Please don't talk to me about your stupid boyfriend. Okay? Like, I hope she doesn't see this. Anyways, I don't want to talk about your boyfriend. I don't want to hear about your boyfriend. I don't even, like, she started FaceTiming her boyfriend while we were waiting in line to get into this party. And I'm like, I don't understand. And we're just, like, enjoying the Fandom Fest. We found a good spot near the stage, and then I'm just checking Instagram, and this YouTuber, yeah, I spilled the beans, this YouTuber that I like, the one that I was, like, kind of stalking on social media, posting more and more about this party, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to go see if I can just run into them. So I'm just walking around casually, and then, bam, and my fangirl just completely went 14-year-old girl, okay? My eyes got super wide, and I was like, oh my god, and I, like, you know when you see someone you know, I didn't even know the guy, but you know when you see someone you know and you just, like, run full speed? I think that's what happened to me, and I didn't even know the guy, so I run full speed at him, basically probably scaring him half to death. And I'm like, oh my god, hey, like, I've been messaging you, like, all afternoon, like, da-da-da, I just thought it was so funny that I was in San Diego and you're in San Diego, and ha! And I'm standing there, and I'm like, oh my god, what are the words that are coming out of my mouth right now? Am I really being that girl? Yeah, so I was that girl. And I was, like, talking to him, and I said, oh, like, love your stuff, like, I'm really, like, thrilled that you're here working, like, that's great, good for you, you got a thing with MTV, and I was like, can I get a picture? And he's like, absolutely, oh my god, and I go to turn it, like, just to take it, and then he's like, oh, no, like, she can take it. And I'm like, that means it's gonna be so much better. Thank you so much, you understand. Like, I got emotional, because I was like, oh my god, this picture's gonna be fantastic. Like, I'm gonna look so good standing next to you. Anyways, so I got my picture, and I was, like, freaking out. And the funny thing is, though, he was the background on my phone. And he looks down at my phone and he goes, am I your background on your phone? And I was like, oh, fuck. Why didn't I change that? Like, what was I thinking? Clearly nothing, because I didn't even think I would run into him. And then he's like, ah, that's so funny. And I'm like, ah, kill me now. And then I get my picture and I change the background. Like, he leaves and I change the background again, obviously, because I'm like, oh my god, like, a stupid fangirl moment, which is so stupid. If you're ever in a situation like this, like I was in, and your fangirl wants to be like, oh my god, don't do it, because you're going to run into them again, and then they're going to be like, oh my god, what the fuck, she already changed her background. Anyways, just chilling, and like, whatever, and then, like, I go tell my friend, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I ran into him, like, it was super, super cool, like, he was super nice, and he took a picture with me, and, like, it looks really good, I'm really happy with it, and she goes, let's go find him again, and I'm like, oh, like, he's working, like, I don't really want to bother him. And she goes, well, I want to get a picture with him. And I'm like, do you even know who he is? And she goes, oh, like, he's a Viner, right? And I'm like, yeah, but, like, he also does YouTube, and he also, like, acts and stuff, and, yeah, you know, and she's like, okay, whatever. And we go, so we try to find him again, and he's just doing, like, a segment, he's doing his job. And she is like, okay, I'm going to go up to him. I know how to talk to celebrities. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And she's like, I'm going to pretend that I don't know who he is. And I'm like, you don't know who he is, so go for it. And then she goes up to him, and she's like, So who are you? And I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my God, you're an idiot. So she goes, who are you? Why is she so obsessed with you? I don't understand. Are you famous? And then I come up and I'm like, hey man, like it's great to see you again. Like, ha ha ha. And she goes, why are you so obsessed with him? Like, who is he? And I'm like, he's a YouTuber. Like, he does some cool shit. Like, and then I started talking to him and I was like, hey, like, I just wanted to, like, let you know, I forgot to tell you, like, I'm from Canada. I'm a really, really big fan. And I also bought your merch. And he goes, oh, that's awesome. Like, has it arrived? Like, we started talking and I don't know, it was fine. Like, I was having a nice conversation with him and he seemed to enjoying my company. But then my friend, I don't want to call her my friend because I just met her. So then she goes, yeah, but like, you have merch? She said something and then he's just like, oh, okay, I gotta go. So then he leaves and I'm like, okay, like, it was great to meet you, bye, whatever. And then we leave. And then she has the audacity to say to me after, you shouldn't have said that. I just met the girl. You shouldn't have said that. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, he thought you were weird. You were being too much. You shouldn't have mentioned his merch. The rest of the night I was super anxious and I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, I don't want him to think I'm crazy, like, not that it really matters what he thought of me, but it's just kind of like my first impression and I really like making a first impression on people. And I was like, okay, like, if I run into him again, he probably won't want to take a picture with me again because he'll be like, oh my God, that was that crazy girl. So I basically was like kind of anxious about it the whole night. And we ended up leaving and I was like, I don't really want to leave because this looks like a fun fucking party. But we ended up going back to the convention center and we watched this panel and she was like, I don't really like this kind of stuff. I don't really like comic books. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're at like one of the biggest comic conventions in the whole world. Why are you here? So I said, haha, what are you into? Celebrities? And she goes, haha, yeah. Honestly, I was just like, yeah, I'm done with this. Like, our friendship is over at this point because I don't have the patience to deal with that, especially at 17, like, when you should be getting your life together, and she's like, all I care about is celebrities. Like, bitch, worry about your future. Worry about what college you're gonna go to. Don't worry about that celebrity shit. And she was super ignorant. She was like, oh, well, because I live in Canada, and most of the CW shows, like the 100 and iZombie and like other CW shows are shot in Canada, in Vancouver. And she goes, well, you must see celebrities all the time. Why are you freaking out about this YouTuber? And I go, well, because I've never met a celebrity before. I've never met anybody famous. Like, I've never met anybody that's on screen right in front of me. And she goes, yeah, but you're from Canada. You must run into Ryan Reynolds all the time. And I'm like, I think I just run into Ryan Reynolds in the grocery store? Who are you? I don't run into Ryan Reynolds in the grocery store. I don't know Ryan Reynolds. The first celebrity I met was Styles' dad from Teen Wolf, okay? Like, thanks, lady, for making me feel like even the bigger loser than I already am. I just was like, okay, whatever. And then we go our separate ways. And I'm like, yeah, great talking with you. Great talking with you. It was super fantastic. It wasn't. So this was Friday, okay? And I get home and I'm like freaking out to my dad and I'm like, oh my God, I met the YouTuber guy that I really like. By the way, his name is Cody Ko. I'll link his stuff down below. You need to check it out. It's funny as hell, okay? Most of people know him from the Real Bros of Simi Valley. That's what my ex-boyfriend knows him from. This was Friday. And then Saturday, we do the exact same thing again. We go up in line, to wait in another line, to wait in another line, to wait in another line. This time, I'm pulling for Riverdale. If y'all don't know about Riverdale, y'all should start watching Riverdale. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's basically like a reincarnation of the Archie comics. It's and like super mysterious and like teenage angst. Yeah, it's super fun. Really cool wristbands at Warner Brother, and it like shines God, English is hard. It, like, is like a hologram, so you kind of just, like, whenever it changes, it goes. And so I get my wristband, and I'm like, fuck yeah, like, I'm gonna meet Riverdale cast. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, what if they're mean? What if, like, all this stuff, right? And I'm waiting in line, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, Teen Wolf guys were so nice. Like, Cody Ko was so nice. Like, what if these guys are assholes and, like, turns me off from celebrities? Right? And then I go up to meet them, and they're just, like, all flawless. Every one of them is just so beautiful. And they're like, well, we have a great makeup team. Like, we've been up since 5 a.m. too. Like, thank you so much for coming. Like, we really appreciate it. Like, keep watching the show. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are so nice. I want to cry. I'm gonna, like, get emotional thinking about it because I'm a piece of shit. Then I go to KJ Appa, who is, like, the cutest little human being I've ever met in my whole life. And he goes, what's your name, sweetie? And I'm like, excuse me? Sweetie? Who is Sweetie? About me. So I put my name on the poster. It says, thanks, Emma. Under KJ Appa, it says, thanks, Emma. And I was like, oh my God. So then we move over, and I get to Cole Sprouse. And this boy is, like, leaning over the desk, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, hi, like, it's super nice to meet you, like, love the show, like, been a huge time fan since, you know, you were a little kid. And he's like, thanks, I really appreciate that. And then he just goes, and draws tears down Jughead's face. And at that point, I'm just like, oh, fuck, okay, you just ruined my fucking poster. But then I was like, oh, it'll be a great story to tell the internet. So that happened, and I was really thrilled about it. And everybody was super nice, and I wanted to cry. I actually, because you can pick, and, like, me and my dad were both in the same line, and he doesn't do autographs, so he picked for me a second time. And I got Gotham, which, if you guys don't know, it's basically, like, a TV show based on before Batman became Batman. And they basically follow around Commissioner James Gordon before he was Commissioner James Gordon, when he was, like, a beat cop and when he was a detective and that sort of stuff. I think it's on its third season. It's on its third season. And I met all of the cast from there except for a few of them, and each and every individual one of them shook my hand and asked me for my name. They're like, hi, what's your name? And they're like, do you like the show? Do you enjoy watching the show? And I honestly wanted to cry because I was just sitting there, and I was just so flabbergasted by the realness of these people. Which, in my mind, because I've never met celebrities before, I didn't know that they could be real people. So I was like, oh my God, I put them on a pedestal, right? Because I've only seen them in TV or, like, on the screen. And I didn't think that they were real people. So I was just so flabbergasted by how nice they were. And each time you get a thing, you get a poster with all their autographs on it. Like, you don't have to bring anything. You don't have to do anything. You just show up. And they give you a free poster with, like, 16 autographs on it. And then that Saturday, I was on cloud nine. Like, Friday night happened, I met Cody Ko. I met all the Teen Wolf cast. And then Saturday just got better and better and better. And I honestly had never been so content, and I felt so lucky that I'd waited in line for so long and gotten a reward, when the last year I went to Comic-Con, we didn't get anything. So yeah, that happened. And then I was just so happy about it that, like, it couldn't get any better. And then Saturday night, my dad and I went to an advanced screening of Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. I always never know if I'm pronouncing her name right. Charlize Theron. Yeah, she's the main character in Atomic Blonde. And we're just sitting waiting for it to start, and then all of a sudden, the door to the back of the theater bursts open, and the director comes out. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. Like, oh my God, it's the director. Like, my inner film nerd is just screaming. And I'm like, oh my God, like, he's gonna just introduce the movie. Like, it'll be great. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And then all of a sudden, she walks in. and I'm hollering. I'm like, yes, yes, queen. I'm hollering, okay? I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. That's probably actually why I got sick. And she comes in and she just introduces the movie and she's like, I'm so proud of this movie. Like, I really hope you guys enjoy it. You guys are some of the first people to see it. And there's 8 theaters full of people trying to see this movie. And this grateful, selfless human being went into every single 8 theaters and said the exact same thing.
To introduce the star of Atomic Blonde, Charlize Theron.
Hey! Are you guys awake? Don't worry about it. The movie will wake you up. Listen, thank you so much. We're so excited that we get to show this movie here tonight. And you guys are one of the first audiences to see it. So I really hope you like it. Thank you for supporting us. It really means a lot to David and I that you guys are so supportive of this film, and have a great time.
Enjoy.
Great Wednesday, I had a great Thursday, I had an even better Friday, I had an even better Saturday now. Sunday can't get any better. Sunday didn't get any better. We waited in line for Supernatural and we were 20 people behind and everybody kept winning the passes. And I'm like, you can't just give them to everybody. Everybody can't just win. That's not how the game works. You know, like, I wanted to turn into Voldemort and just be like, oh, Avada Kedavra on everybody. I know that's a bit extreme, but that's what I wanted to do. This is so good for not having a mirror. I'm going to have a mirror now, though, because I can put on my eyeliner. So essentially, that was my Comic-Con celebrity weekend. Everybody was super, super nice, down to earth, and probably, like, the best weekend of my entire life. I met 30 celebrities that weekend, and I had never met a single one before. I'd see them in glancing. Like, last year, I just ran into Vanessa Hudgens, and I was like, oh my god, okay. But this year, I actually got to talk to them, and, like, get pictures with them, and take videos of them. Okay, so I'm all ready to go take this makeup off, because I didn't have to go anywhere. Thanks so much for watching. If you stuck around this long, give that video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button while you're down there, and maybe even leave a comment if you feel like it. And yeah, peace, love, and fairy dust.